on WRD News, we will be discussing drug testing for welfare recipients and the results of the unsuccessful trial in Florida about 2 years ago.
Not only will we be discussing the matter at hand, but we will also be personally speaking to a taxpayer in the state of Florida regarding their opinions on the issue.
About 2 years ago, Governor Rick Scott signed the law that required applicants seeking temporary assistance to first pass a drug test in Florida. In an attempt to support his decision, Governor Scott states, "Welfare is 100% about helping children. Welfare is taxpayer money to help people looking for jobs who have children. Drug use by anyone with children looking for a job is totally destructive. This is fundamentally about protecting the well-being of Florida families."
108 negative drug tests were yielded from Florida's 4-month drug testing run in 2011, according to the Department of Children and Families data. Only 2.6% of applicants who took the test failed, although supporters argue that this number does not account for those who walk away from the drug test.
96.3% of the recipients passed the drug test administered. This leaves the state to pay more than $100,000 to adults who paid for the test and also passed. Drug testing cost the state of Florida 5 times more to administer the test than it saved.
Now we will switch over to Caitlin Casey, who will be interviewing a taxpayer in Florida.
Discuss her opinion on the drug testing requirements for welfare recipients. Miss Mallory, what were your feelings when the law was passed and the government started taking money out of your paychecks to support this program each month?
Well, Miss Casey, I was on the edge of whether drug testing was a good idea or not. I thought it might be beneficial for the state to start requiring something like this, but it wasn't until they started implementing this law that I had a problem with it. I didn't realize how much more money they would be taking out of my check each month to go towards this program. I work hard for my money, and I don't think it was right for the government to take more of my money out of my checks each month. If they wanted to put this bill into place, the government should have paid for the system on their own, not put more of a burden on the taxpayers. I'm glad this law did not last long because only a few hundred people tested positive, and it was just too expensive. Bottom line, as a taxpayer, I don't want any more of my money taken out of my checks for taxes.
Now, my next question is, do you think that drug testing was unconstitutional for welfare recipients?
Personally, I think it's unconstitutional because it's against the Fourth Amendment, which states that citizens are protected against unreasonable searches and seizures. The welfare recipients should only be drug tested if there is probable cause or if there is suspicion. It infringes on their rights as American citizens, and they should not be profiled or categorized as a drug user because they are on welfare. America was based on freedom, and these recipients shouldn't feel like they're inferior or a bad person because they need to depend on a government to help support their family.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Mallory. Back to you, Erica and Spencer.
Now that we have spoken personally to a taxpayer in Florida during the time that this law was put into action, we see that testing welfare recipients is not efficient and unconstitutional.
The trial run in Florida has upset many taxpayers and cost the citizens and state more money than necessary. Thank you for tuning in to this evening's edition of WRD News, and join us again tomorrow at 11 p.m. Good night, America.